Mateo loved taking pictures. Back in Argentina, he always had his camera ready. Now, in this new city, he still looked for ways to use his talent. He wasn't getting paid for it, not really. He just liked making people happy. He often volunteered at the community center, taking pictures of kids playing soccer or helping out at the food bank. He felt good using his camera to help others. His friends knew they could always count on him. Mateo wasn't just a photographer. He was a friend, a neighbor, always willing to lend a hand and capture precious moments for anyone in need. He was happy to make people smile. Today was a very special day. Maria and David were getting married. City Hall was decorated with bright flowers and colorful ribbons. Everyone was smiling. Maria wore a beautiful white dress, and David looked handsome in his suit. The music played softly as people found their seats. Little kids ran around, giggling. Maria's mom dabbed her eyes with a tissue. David's dad patted him on the back, smiling proudly. Mateo moved around quietly, taking pictures of everything. He wanted to capture all the joy and love in the air. It was going to be a great day for a wedding. Mateo knew Maria's family from the community center. He'd helped Maria's younger brother with his soccer team photos. When Maria asked if he could take pictures at her wedding, he didn't hesitate. He told her it was his gift to them. He wasn't getting paid anything. He was just happy to help celebrate their special day. He wanted to give them memories they could cherish forever. Mateo carefully framed each shot, making sure to capture the smiles, the tears, and all the love in the room. It was important to him that they had beautiful photos to remember this day. Just as Maria and David were about to say, "I do," the doors to City Hall burst open. Two men in dark jackets walked in quickly. They didn't smile or say hello. Everyone stopped talking. The music stopped. The men looked around the room, their eyes scanning each person. They seemed to be searching for someone. Maria's mom gasped softly. David's dad frowned. Mateo, still holding his camera, felt a shiver run down his spine. The happy feeling in the room was suddenly replaced with worry and confusion. Something wasn't right. One of the men pointed at Mateo. "You, Immigration and Customs Enforcement. We need to talk to you." Mateo was shocked. "Me? What's going on?" he asked, confused. "We have reason to believe you are working here without authorization," the man said sternly. "But I'm not working," Mateo protested. "I'm just taking pictures for my friend. It's a gift." The men didn't listen. They walked towards him, their faces serious. Maria started to cry. David looked angry. The wedding had turned into a nightmare. Mateo felt his heart pounding. He didn't understand what was happening. "Sir, you need to come with us," one of the agents said, grabbing Mateo's arm. Mateo tried to pull away. "Please, I haven't done anything wrong," he pleaded. But the agents didn't listen. They tightened their grip and started pulling him towards the door. People started shouting. Maria's father tried to intervene, but the agents pushed him aside. Mateo stumbled, his camera falling to the floor with a loud crash. He looked back at Maria, his eyes filled with fear and confusion. He didn't understand why this was happening. He was being dragged away from a wedding, accused of something he didn't do. It was all a terrible mistake. As Mateo was pulled through the doors, someone in the crowd quickly pulled out their phone. They started recording. The shaky video showed Mateo being dragged, his face etched with fear. You could hear Maria sobbing in the background and people yelling at the agents. The person filming whispered, "This is wrong. This is so wrong." The video captured the raw emotion of the moment, the shock, the anger, the disbelief. It was a private moment, now exposed. Little did they know that video would soon be seen by millions, turning a small wedding interruption into a national scandal. The click of the phone stopping the recording echoed in the stunned silence. The wedding guest, still shaking from what they had witnessed, quickly uploaded the video to social media. They added a simple caption, "ICE arresting the wedding photographer. This is not right." Within minutes, the video began to spread. People shared it, retweeted it, and commented on it. News outlets picked up the story. Soon, #JusticeForMateo was trending. People were outraged by what they saw. They couldn't believe that someone could be arrested like that, especially at a wedding, and especially for volunteering. The internet exploded with anger and calls for justice. Mateo's face, once known only in his small community, was now plastered across screens worldwide. Online, the comments poured in. "This is an outrage. He was just helping out," one person wrote. "ICE needs to be held accountable for this," said another. Many shared stories of Mateo's kindness and generosity. People who knew him from the community center spoke about his willingness to help anyone in need. Others criticized ICE's actions, questioning their priorities. "Is this really the best use of their resources?" one comment asked. "They're tearing families apart for no reason." Some people even started online petitions, demanding Mateo's immediate release. The online world had become Mateo's biggest advocate, fighting for his freedom and justice. The legal experts started weighing in. Was Mateo really working? Did taking photos as a favor count as unauthorized employment? Many argued that volunteering shouldn't be considered work. It was a gift, a kind gesture. Others questioned whether ICE had overstepped its authority. Did they have the right to interrupt a wedding and arrest someone based on suspicion alone? Some lawyers pointed out that ICE needed a warrant, or at least probable cause, to make an arrest. The case raised important questions about the limits of government power and the rights of immigrants. The discussion raged on, both online and in legal circles. Maria's family felt terrible. They knew Mateo was a good person. Maria's mom, Sophia, felt especially guilty. She had asked Mateo to take the photos. Now, he was in jail because of her. Sophia contacted a lawyer and started telling everyone about Mateo. She told them how he always helped at the community center, how he never asked for anything in return. "He's like family to us," she said, her voice trembling. "He doesn't deserve this." Sophia was determined to get Mateo released. She knew she had to fight for him, just like he would have fought for her family. Mateo came to the United States a few years ago, hoping to learn more about photography. He had a student visa and studied at a local community college. After his visa expired, he stayed, hoping to find a way to continue living here legally. He wasn't trying to take anyone's job. He just wanted to improve his skills and contribute to the community. He loved taking pictures and making people happy. He volunteered because it made him feel good to help others. He considered this place his home now. His friends were here, his community was here, and his heart was here. Mateo was scared. He couldn't sleep. He kept replaying the arrest in his head. He worried about his future. Would he be deported? Would he ever see his friends again? The legal battle was expensive. He had to hire a lawyer and fight the charges against him. He felt ashamed and embarrassed. He didn't want to be known as the wedding photographer who got arrested. He just wanted to live his life, take pictures, and help others. The thought of being sent back to Argentina filled him with dread. This was his home now. Mateo's case was just one example of how immigration laws can affect people's lives. Many immigrants face similar situations, living in fear of being arrested and deported. Some are separated from their families, while others are forced to leave the only home they've ever known. These laws can be very strict and sometimes don't take into account individual circumstances. They can make it hard for people to work, go to school, or even just live their lives. Mateo's story highlighted the need for fairer and more compassionate immigration policies. It showed how important it is to treat everyone with respect and dignity, no matter where they come from. The community wasn't going to let Mateo face this alone. People organized protests outside City Hall, carrying signs that read "Justice for Mateo," and volunteering is not a crime. They wanted to show their support and let the world know that Mateo was loved and valued. They also started a fundraising campaign to help pay for his legal fees. People donated whatever they could, even if it was just a few dollars. Every little bit helped. The community center held a bake sale, and local businesses offered to donate a portion of their profits. Everyone was pitching in to help Mateo get through this difficult time. It showed just how much he meant to them. The media was all over the story. News reporters interviewed Mateo's lawyer, who explained the legal arguments in his defense. They also interviewed Maria's family, who spoke about Mateo's kind heart and his dedication to the community. Community leaders gave statements about Mateo's contributions, emphasizing that he was a valuable member of society. They argued that arresting him was a waste of resources and a disservice to the community. The media coverage helped to raise awareness about Mateo's case and put pressure on ICE to reconsider their actions. It gave Mateo a platform to share his story and plead his case to the world. The legal process was long and complicated. Mateo had to attend several court hearings. His lawyer argued that he wasn't working, just volunteering. They presented evidence of his community service and letters of support from friends and neighbors. But the government argued that taking photos, even for free, was still a form of labor. They claimed that Mateo was taking a job away from someone else. The judge had to decide whether volunteering could be considered unauthorized work. It was a difficult decision, with serious consequences for Mateo's future. The weight of the legal battle pressed down on him, making each day a struggle. Deportation would mean losing everything. Mateo would have to leave his friends, his community, and the life he had built in the United States. He would be separated from the people who cared about him and who relied on him. It would also be difficult for him to pursue his passion for photography. He had made connections with local artists and had started to build a portfolio. All of that would be gone. His dreams would be shattered. For Maria's family, it would mean losing a dear friend, someone they considered part of their family. The thought of Mateo being forced to leave was heartbreaking for everyone who knew him. The ordeal took a heavy toll on Mateo. He was constantly anxious and worried. He lost his appetite and had trouble sleeping. But he refused to give up. He was determined to fight for his right to stay in the United States. Maria's family also struggled. They felt responsible for what had happened and were determined to do everything they could to help Mateo. They spent hours researching immigration laws and contacting politicians. They never lost hope that they could find a way to keep Mateo in their lives. Their resilience and determination were fueled by their love and friendship. Mateo's case sparked a national debate about the role of ICE. Some people argued that ICE was simply doing its job, enforcing the law. They believed that anyone who violated immigration laws should be held accountable. Others argued that ICE's actions were too harsh and that they often targeted innocent people. They believed that ICE should focus on deporting criminals, not people who were contributing to society. The debate raised important questions about the balance between immigration enforcement and human rights. How do we protect our borders while also treating people with compassion and respect? It was a difficult question with no easy answers. Mateo's case added fuel to the fire of ongoing efforts to reform immigration laws. Many organizations were working to create a more just and humane system. They were advocating for laws that would protect the rights of immigrants, provide a pathway to citizenship, and keep families together. They were also working to educate the public about the contributions that immigrants make to our society. They believed that by sharing stories like Mateo's, they could change hearts and minds. The hope was that one day, everyone would be treated with fairness and respect, regardless of their immigration status. The fight for immigration reform was far from over, but Mateo's story had given it new momentum. Despite everything, Mateo refused to let his passion fade. He dreamed of opening his own photography studio one day, where he could capture beautiful moments for everyone. He wanted to use his talent to bring joy to others. Even if he had to leave the United States, he knew he would find a way to continue taking pictures. He believed that photography was his calling, and he wouldn't let anything stop him. He hoped that one day he could return to the United States and continue building his life here. But even if he couldn't, he would always remember the kindness and support he had received from the community. Mateo's case had the potential to change the way ICE operates. Some lawmakers began calling for stricter oversight of the agency, demanding that they be more transparent and accountable for their actions. There is also discussion about redefining what constitutes work in immigration law to ensure that volunteers are not unfairly targeted. Some people hoped that Mateo's story would lead to a more compassionate and sensible approach to immigration enforcement, one that prioritizes human rights and recognizes the contributions of immigrants to our society. It was a long shot, but Mateo's case had opened a door to change. Maria and David's wedding day would forever be marked by Mateo's arrest. What was supposed to be a joyous celebration had been overshadowed by fear and uncertainty. They still managed to get married that day, but the happiness was tinged with sadness. Every time they looked at their wedding photos, the few that Matteo had managed to take, they would be reminded of what had happened. But they also remembered the outpouring of support from the community and the fight for justice that followed. Their wedding day became a symbol of both love and resilience. Matteo's story spread far and wide, raising awareness about the challenges that immigrants face every day. It showed how easily someone's life can be turned upside down, even when they're trying to do good. The case also highlighted the importance of community support. Without the help of his friends, neighbors, and even strangers, Matteo would have been completely alone. Their kindness and generosity gave him the strength to keep fighting. It showed that even in the face of adversity, people can come together to make a difference. The support Matteo received served as a beacon of hope in a dark time. Matteo's story reminds us that immigration is not just about laws and policies. It's about people. It's about families, communities, and the human cost of decisions made in faraway offices. It calls for justice, compassion, and a recognition of the value that every individual brings to our society. What happens next for Matteo is still uncertain. He continues to fight his case, holding on to hope that he can remain in the United States. Whether he stays or goes, his story will continue to inspire others to stand up for what is right and to treat everyone with the kindness and respect they deserve. The end.